Cause y'all been lied to. Google lied to you. Facebook lied to you. We are all great people. We are all equal. But sometimes we be playing the politics too much and forgetting who we are. I've been sent here to give y'all my truth, even at the risk of my own life. Even at the risk of my own success, my own career. I've been sent here to give y'all the truth. I ain't above, below, none of y'all. We all equal. We all equal. These is the vibes, bro. This is the future. This is the way of thinking to make America great again. Like that. Guess what? Guess what? Y'all need the vibes. Feelings matter, bro. It's a new world, Hillary Clinton. It's a new world. Feelings matter. Because guess what? Everybody in middle America felt away. And they showed you how they felt. Feelings matter, bruh. It's a new world. It's a new world, Barack. It's a new world, Jay-Z. You might not like it, but they gotta hear it. I ain't here to massage you with a fake truth, telling you that Hillary gonna win over and over and over. Then you wake up, you still can't believe it. You know why? Because you was lied to by Google. You was lied to by Mark Zuckerberg. The most relevant shit happening. This ain't proper to a more relevant than radio. And if y'all still keep following old models, your ass is gonna get Hillary Clinton.
Hi, this is Dr. Joe Green, the founder of the 2019 movement, and I want to spend a couple of moments to talk about identity politics. And identity politics is something that has become so prevalent in our society, and but I want to talk specifically about identity politics in regards to the African American culture and the political realm that we live in now. So most people have heard the 2019 movement. You've heard a lot of the talks and the videos I've done, and one of the things that's become very prominent, one of the things that's overwhelmingly obvious, is that this thing of identity politics has really taken hold, and it's bad. It's not good. So black people are one of the most manipulated class of people in terms of identity politics. So I want to define identity politics and explain to you and how it's been used to manipulate the group of African Americans. So identity politics has come to signify a wide range of political activity and theorizing founded in the shared experiences of injustices of members of certain social groups rather than organizing solely around belief systems, programmatic manifestos, or party affiliation. Identity political formations typically aim to secure the political freedom of a specific constituency marginalized within its larger context. So in a nutshell, and you saw the video with Kanye West, and Kanye West said the reason that a lot of people came to his concert were mad at what happened, and you know that video was happened soon after the election of November of 2016 where President Trump became president. He said a lot of people are mad. You guys are mad because you felt like you lost, and it's because you've been lied to. And I don't think there's many truer words that have been spoken. I'm not a huge Kanye West fan, but I had to play that clip because he was right on the money. The reason that a lot of people, especially people of color, felt so upset and angry at the fact that President Trump won is because they have been being manipulated through identity politics. And I'm going to explain to you what I mean by that. You know, I use it this way. When you talk about identity politics, instead of us understanding the political system is supposed to be set up about principles, belief systems, and things that are in your best interest or not in your best interest, identity politics categorizes us into groups, and we identify with those groups, and it ends up spilling over into our political affiliations. So for instance, black people affiliate themselves as Democrats, and that's identity politics, because when you look at the sphere of the black experience in America, we have different likes, we have different desires, we have different principles, but yet identity politics allows us to be all clumped together. And so it's almost like your sports team, you know. So identity politics in the black community has made it like a sports team. So for instance, I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I've been a Pittsburgh Steelers fan for a long time. So because that's all subjective, you know, I have my favorite team. It's not right or wrong. It's just that's the team I like. When I'm debating or arguing with somebody about their sports team, I don't need to have facts. I don't need to have evidence to say why I think Pittsburgh's the best team. You know, I can say, well, they're not in first place, but, or I like the Pittsburgh Steelers because I like the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's been my team. I'm loyal to it. Maybe I like the players. I might like the uniforms. There's no right or wrong answers. So when you think about identity politics, that's what black people have done to political parties. So because we are relating to ourselves as Democrats, and we have been lied to think about this false system of just inclusion that we're all black, so we have to identify with as Democrats, is a false narrative. And it is so strong, and it has become so strong in our community that we even ignore the very basic principles that we believe in. So for instance, black people traditionally have been some of the most religious people in America. We were the most pro-life people, the most pro-biblical marriage and those type of things for a long time. But yet, since we are participating in identity politics, and because we are relating to ourselves as Democrats, we now have changed our morals and our values to line up with that political party. Because, and we're talking about platforms and principles, I'm not talking about opinions, and that's one of the things that we have to be careful of, because the liberal left really ignores facts, and kind of, because they've attached to identity politics, they've attached to the emotional responses of people, then facts don't matter. So when you look at the platform of the Democratic Party has said openly that they were very much radically pro-abortion. They are pushing the LGBT agenda, and in 2012 they actually voted to remove God out of their platform, the mention of God. Now they overrode that, but if you look at the video, and there's a video clip you can find on YouTube where when they had the vote, the large majority of Democrats voted to remove the mention of God out of their platform. So when you take that with the fact of the matter that black people were the most God-fearing, and you know, this is research, so the actual numbers stated that of all races of people, up until recently, blacks were the least atheist. So 95+% of black people identified themselves as believing in God. That was the highest number of all racial, you know, defining categories. So we were overwhelmingly for marriage between a man and a woman, and we were not in support of gay marriage. We were also very much pro-life. But what happens is, because of the manipulation and the social engineering that has taken place, now we support Democrats even though the principles of the party that's expressed through their platform contradicts what we say we believe in. That's what identity politics does. Now let me tell you the history very quickly of how that happened. So traditionally black people were Republicans, because the Republican Party was founded as the anti-slavery party. It's the party of Lincoln, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass. All those were Republicans because they were anti-slavery. Now you have the 60s with what's called the War on Poverty and LBJ. They came up with a way to manipulate the black community into believing that the Democratic Party was for blacks, and when that happens, blacks began from the 60s on to switch from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party. Now, how did they do that? It's very interesting, and I'm going to get to that, but let me give you another fact. LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, was an avowed racist, and he came up with a strategy. He says in his unauthorized autobiography, he was going to get those N-words voting Democrat for the next 200 years. That's what he was reported to have said. There's many recordings of him using racial slurs against black people, so it is a fact that he was a racist against black people. So
finally, Dr. Joanna Williams is one of my favourite writers on education, indeed on feminism. She's an academic, education editor of Spike. She's the author of Consuming Higher Education, Why Learning Can't Be Bought. So I'm going to get her to just give us a 60-second, what's your elevator pitch? Why does it agitate you, this identity politics?
Well, I'll just start by perhaps stating the obvious, but I think identity politics is everywhere nowadays. And we have seen it so much this weekend, where nearly everybody who speaks in any of the discussions feels the need to preface their remarks by saying, speaking as a woman, speaking as a mother, speaking as an academic. And it's these kind of biological, often biological, but not always kind of assumed cultural identities that have really come to define each other. We use them to define each other. I don't think identity politics is eating itself. I wish identity politics would eat itself. And I think that there are two key things that I'd really like to bring out today that I think are problematic with identity politics, the way it's being framed today. The first is just it's incredibly limiting. It's about defining ourselves based on the most biological, the most boring aspects of our identity and not being able to move beyond that. This is not transformational, this is limiting. Second thing is that often claims to identity are based on victim status, and we become involved in what's termed a kind of oppression sweepstakes, where to be able to maintain our identity, we have to outdo other groups based on who is the most victimized, and I think that's incredibly unhelpful. One very, very final quick point. I actually think the name identity politics is wrong. I think this has nothing to do with politics. I think it's more about narcissism. It's about a complete obsession with the self, and we can't relate to the world other than how we see ourselves in it.
Okay, thanks, Jo.
It's the people who you might term.
I distrust identity politics of all kinds. I think we should talk about specific issues, whether it's trade or guns or immigration or foreign interventions or abortion or anything else. And we should reason honestly about them. And I'm not the first person to notice that it's pretty strange that knowing a person's position on any one of these issues generally allows you to predict his position on the others. This shouldn't happen. Some of these issues are totally unrelated. Why should a person's attitude toward guns be predictive of his views on climate change or immigration or abortion? And yet, it almost certainly is in our society. That's a sign that people are joining tribes and movements, right? It's not the sign of clear thinking. If you're reasoning honestly about facts, then the color of your skin is irrelevant. The religion of your parents is irrelevant. Whether you're gay or straight is irrelevant. Your identity is irrelevant. In fact, if you're talking about reality, its character can't be predicated on who you happen to be. Right? That's what it means to be talking about reality. And this also applies to the reality of human experience and human suffering. For instance, if vaccines don't cause autism, if that is just a fact, and that's what the best science suggests at this point, well then when arguing against this view, you need data or a new analysis of existing data. You need an argument. Okay? And the nature of any argument is that its validity doesn't depend on who you are. That's why a good argument should be accepted by others, no matter who they are. So in the case of vaccines causing autism, you don't get to say, as a parent of a child with autism, I believe X, Y, and Z. Whatever is true about the biological basis of autism can't depend on who you are. And who you are in this case is probably adding a level of emotional engagement with the issue, which would be totally understandable, but would also be unlikely to lead you to think about it more clearly. The facts are whatever they are. And it's not an accident that being disinterested, not uninterested, but disinterested, that is, not being emotionally engaged, usually improves a person's ability to reason about the facts. When talking about violence in our society, again, the facts are whatever they are. How many people got shot? How many died? What was the color of their skin? Who shot them? What was the color of their skin? Getting a handle on these facts doesn't require one to say, as a black man, I know X, Y, and Z. The color of your skin simply isn't relevant information. When talking about the data, that is, what is happening throughout a whole society, your life experience isn't relevant information. And the fact that you think it might be is a problem. Now, this isn't to say that a person's life experience is never relevant to a conversation. Of course it is. And it can be used to establish certain kinds of facts. I mean, if someone says to you, Catholics don't believe in hell, it's perfectly valid to retort, actually, my mom is a Catholic, and she believes in hell. Of course, there's a larger question of what the Catholic doctrine actually is. But if a person is making a statement about a certain group of people, and you are a member of the group, you might very well be in a position to falsify his claim on the basis of your experience. But a person's identity and life experience often aren't relevant when talking about facts. And they're usually invoked in ways that are clearly fallacious. And many people seem to be making a political religion out of ignoring this difference. So I urge you not to be one of those people.